Hey everybody, my name is James White. Welcome to the Built on Boxes YouTube channel. This is my story. This is why I started this adventure. I'm going to talk a little bit about how I got here, what I'm hoping to do, how I expect my life to change, that kind of thing. It might surprise you to learn my background and how I ended up in the trucking or food truck space, or really anything outside of an office space. I was a law enforcement officer for almost a decade. I decided in 2013 to go back to graduate school, and I got an MBA, and I really wasn't satisfied with the prospects that opened up for me, and so I decided to go to law school. And so in 2015 I started law school, and I graduated in 2018. Now, I was 39 when I graduated law school and when I sat for the bar exam. So I'm a lawyer, and my wife is a nurse, and you would think that our businesses would be like recession proof. But the truth is that when the pandemic happened in early 2020, I was barely into my law practice. I mean, I have a lot of life experience. Like I said, I was a police officer for almost 10 years. I've worked in correction, I've worked in probation and parole, I've worked in law enforcement, and you would think that those were all stable. When I became a lawyer, I thought, well, you know, we're all good. But I spent $100,000 on that education. I already had a previous master's degree. And then 2020 happened, and I worked for myself. I mostly did. I mean, I grew up poor from Appalachia, and my goal was to service indigent defendants in criminal law. So my hope was to help poor people either defend their case in custody situations with the juvenile court, or to defend themselves against criminal prosecution. And I wanted to be of service to people who didn't have the money to hire a lawyer. So the bulk of my practice was all court-appointed work. Well, when 2020 hit and March of 2020 came along, the courts here in Tennessee shut down. And as an indigent defense attorney, as a person who works primarily on a court-appointed basis, you don't make money on those cases until they close. And so, you know, you may get a case in, say, January, and ordinarily the rules would dictate that that case would be billable within 30 or 60 days. And then after 30 or 60 days, it takes about a month and a half for the state to pay you too. So the normal timeline for taking a case is I may take a case, it's a case that I would ordinarily make $600 or $700 on, and I might run that for 30 days, and then it gets adjudicated, or we have a preliminary hearing in the criminal defense side, and then that gets closed, and that gets billed, and then 6 weeks later or so I'll get paid for it. So you're already in a situation where you're sort of having to finance yourself for that period of time. You're working and waiting on money. Then when 2020 came along, the courts closed down, and so there were no cases that were closing. I have people that I got in January of 2020 that it's now February of 2021. I still haven't closed those cases. So I was literally unemployed as an attorney. Nobody was hiring, and I wasn't closing any cases, and we were fine. It's not like we were hurting or anything, but I could not believe that I found myself unemployed as an attorney. So we had a little bit of a nest egg. I took a little bit of what I had saved up, and my wife and I bought a van with a bus box on the back of it, like a mini bus, and used it to sell prepackaged ice cream. And so we built an ice cream truck out of a box van. And so the idea for this channel is Built on Boxes, because that opened our eyes completely to what the possibilities were in other ways to make money. And my wife is a nurse. Now, so what else happened during the pandemic? A lot of nurses that weren't directly involved with COVID care, or a lot of nurses that were in hospitals, that were in units ancillary to emergency room, they lost their job. So you got two industries that you think are absolutely recession proof, being an attorney and being a nurse, that is now just completely unreliable as far as income goes. And so there were a lot of people who had it a lot worse. We had a decent savings, and I'm not complaining, and I don't mean to compare myself to people who lost everything during the pandemic. I'm not saying that at all. What I'm trying to say, though, is that it opened my eyes to the possibility that no matter who you are or what you are in this world, something can happen to take that from you if you're not properly prepared. My papa retired from the Army after 20 years, and he used to tell me the 6 Ps, which is prior planning prevents piss poor performance. Now, I'm sure you've probably heard a different version of that idea from your papa or your dad or your mom or whoever, but that was it for us. This is 6 Ps. Prior planning prevents piss poor performance. And so I thought, you know, the old adage, failing to prepare is preparing to fail. Luckily for us, my wife's nursing specialty is home health care, and so she didn't lose her job, but it got me to thinking. And so what we did was we took $10,000 and we bought that bus for $6,000, and we added equipment to it, and we got it all ready, and it was about $4,000 worth of stuff that we had to do. So we spent about 10 grand, and we made that money back in 6 weeks. And for 4 months in the summer, we basically averaged about $2,500 a week, and we brought in between $35,000 and $40,000 during that period of the summer, and it got us through until the courts opened back up, and I was making as much money as I had been making as an attorney during that period of time. But it got us to thinking, is there a way for us to work for ourselves, to work from home, and to maybe only work 25 or 30 hours a week and make more money and be more free? And so we thought about calling this channel Sweet Freedom, because we started with ice cream. But now our focus has shifted to the trucking industry, and we're still doing food trucks. We have 2 ice cream trucks now. We made enough money to make all our money back in 6 weeks, and then instead of putting that money in our pockets, we bought another ice cream truck, and we let our daughter run that. She's 20 this year. And then my son went to CDL school about 6 months ago, and so he's 21 and he's a CDL driver, and he hated the trucking industry from a corporate standpoint. So we put our heads together and we said, well, what can we do to make sure that our kids are taken care of, that our income and our family business is recession proof? And this is what we came up with. So we have an ice cream truck, and we have a second ice cream truck that we're getting ready to convert into a hand dipped ice cream and waffle cones and hand dipped ice cream type thing. So we're gonna have 1 prepackaged truck, we're gonna have 1 hand dipped truck, and then we've opened this trucking business where we're gonna haul box truck loads across the country and give my son an opportunity to drive and see how it goes. So I just wanted to share our story with you, because a lot of times you think that you're different from people because maybe you're educated or maybe you're not, but honest to goodness, there's going to be somebody in a group or somebody that watches this video that may have been a criminal defendant on the other side of the law this time last year, and I might have been on the side where I was defending that person. Not the exact people, but you get what I'm saying. It doesn't matter what your role is in this world. The world can take you out if you're not ready, and it doesn't matter. Are you going to be the type of person that lays down, or are you going to be the type of person that says, you know what, it's time for me to chin up, do what I have to do, and make me recession proof? And if you get to where you can count on you, and the only thing you have to do to be successful is to bet on you, and you become the safest bet you're not gonna have any problems. I mean, you'll have problems, but you're not gonna be unsuccessful. You're not gonna have the world snatch your ability to earn an income and feed your family from your grasp. You're gonna be able to control that because you're gonna be ready. And so that's what this channel's about. That's what the whole thing's gonna be about. I'm gonna take you along our journey from where we started, where we end up. We're gonna show the builds for the food trucks along the way. We're gonna show the load boards. We're going to talk about DOT compliance and some of the scams you can fall victim to. We're going to talk about owning a truck versus renting a truck. We're just going to take you along this journey with us, and we're going to build it together. The only thing I ask is that if you find what I have to say valuable, that you like and subscribe, you comment on the posts, and you support our channel. All I want to do is build a YouTube following. I'll never ask you for money. I'll never try to sell you a course, because the problem is when you sell a course that's a coaching course, people think, and maybe it's your fault, maybe it's their fault, maybe it's laziness, for whatever reason, they think that that's a substitute, that your course is a substitute for their responsibility to research, do their homework, due diligence. And instead they lean on every single thing you say, and a lot of people go out of business. I was talking to a insurance friend of mine the other day that specializes in truck insurance, and he said, you wouldn't believe the number of people who call me and have paid the $300 for the FMCSA Motor Carrier Authority application. They've set up their LLC and they've invested that money, and they call me and find out they have to put down $3,000 for insurance, and it completely puts them out of the game because they didn't do their research, and they didn't realize that commercial insurance costs $10,000 to $15,000 a year for a normal driver with a clean MVR in order to have the Amazon requirements to haul for Amazon Relay. So they were thinking it was going to be, $1,000 a year like their car insurance, and it would be no big deal. Guys, you're hauling thousands of pounds down the road. Your activity immediately becomes almost inherently dangerous, because the injuries that can happen as a result of your negligence in that situation are catastrophic. And so insurance is nothing more than a game about risk versus reward. And I'm going to tell you a secret. So is business. Everything that you do in business is a risk versus reward analysis. You need to be figuring out, okay, if I buy this truck, how does that look as far as risk? What are the chances that with this 500,000-mile truck that I'm going to get stuck between here and Arizona? Yeah, that load for $3,500 looked pretty awesome up there, taking one from Tennessee to Arizona and Arizona back. It looked pretty good, but what if you break down and you just spent $25,000 on your truck? So there's a lot of stuff to think about when you get into this. And so we're going to just be sharing our journey and coming along, and only if you find what we have to say and what we're doing valuable, like and subscribe, share our stuff, just join the team, man. That's what we're trying to do. We just want to help people. I want to help people. I want to help people, but part of helping people is learning how to help yourself. The most important thing is what you don't know. And I've got another channel called Southern Draw Law that I'm going to be talking about legal stuff and try to build a following over there. But this is secondary. This is about my family. This is about what we're doing, how we're breaking away, and I plan on leaving the law in a couple years. I'm not going to be a lawyer forever. So this is my exit strategy, because I'm never going to be in a situation where my job or my income is subject to recession again. I can promise you that. So anyway, thanks for watching. Thanks for spending your time with us, and like, comment, subscribe. Anything that you can think of that you want to know, that you think I might be able to help you with, give me a shout. Just keep in mind, I'm not giving legal advice. I'm sharing information, and we're not creating a lawyer-client relationship. This is just me trying to help other people and sharing my journey. So thanks a bunch. Have a great day.